So today we will be looking into an interesting topic today. And before we do that, please ensure your microphones are muted and feel free to drop any questions in the chat box throughout the session. So today our team is architecting a sustainable EV charging ecosystem. Our team for today is architecting a sustainable EV charging system. Let's be honest, when most people picture electric vehicles, they imagine sleek cars in shiny, well-paved cities with rock-solid power grids. But here in Africa, our cities are different. They are vibrant, they are growing, and often struggling with unreliable electricity problem. So we can't just copy and paste what worked in Shanghai and London. We have to get creative. That means that means we have to get creative. That means building charging stations that don't rely on the main grid alone, but instead pair solar panels with battery storage so they can work even during blackout. We also have to think about affordability and access. This can't just be for the wealthy neighborhoods. It has to work for motor taxis, minibus, and small businesses that keep our cities moving every day. So today we are going to unpack how we make this real resilient, inclusive, and truly African. I'm so glad you are here. Let's dive into it. So our speaker for today his name is Engineer Olukunle Kolawole. So Engineer Olukunle is a civil engineer and partner at Moon School, focused on the intersection of infrastructure development and sustainable energy. His professional practice is guided by the foundational principles of the Brundtland Report, ensuring that today's development efforts preserve the possibilities of tomorrow. With an MBA and specialized international postgraduate training in environmental management, Engineer Kolawole bridges the gap between technical civil engineering and strategic business sustainability. As a chairman of the Training and Facilitation Committee for the Nigerian Society of Engineers, NSE for short, Ikeja branch, he champions the Gone to Town movement, mentoring young engineers in EES, engineering, entrepreneurship, and sustainability. He remains a firm believer in Nigeria's capacity to drive the next wave of global African giantism through homegrown infrastructure innovations. Let's welcome our distinguished speaker, Engineer Olukunle. Sir, the floor is yours, sir. Hello, sir. Engineer Kolawole, sir. It's not saying. Hello, sir. Engineer Kolawole. I didn't hear me. Engineer Kolawole. He's not speaking. Hello, sir.
Yeah, hello. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah, I'm with you. Can you hear me now?
Okay.
Can you hear me? Hello, moderator, can you hear me?
Okay, we can hear you, sir.
Okay. I hope where I am is not echoing.
No, sir.
Okay. Yeah, good afternoon, my Lord spiritual and temporal, ladies and gentlemen, fellow researchers, policy makers, my colleague in the investments industry. Yeah, this theme that you've chosen is coming at a very right time, especially from research to reality, architecting EV charging ecosystem for African cities. today, instead of it being an academic presentation, I call it manifesto. My party is Moscow Engineering Limited, where I work and a partner in the place. For researchers, it is a time for us to move our journals to the site. For our policymakers, it is an opportunity to have a robust framework for a resilient environment in terms of climate, and also to have a legal framework that will assure our future. For the investors, this is not another environmental initiative. This is a highly viable and impactful business for you. So if you follow me, that will be very right. It's like we have three pillars. We have at the next slide, we have the researchers, they have data, they have information, they're all in their journals. We have the policymakers that will ensure that cities are actually well and duly protected and the people are protected. We also have, on the third arm, the people that will make it to happen, the entrepreneurs, the investors, the industry. So the coordinator mentioned GOWN the other time. Is gown as in human, woman dress, GOWN. We've been running the mandates or the philosophy of it all, of my participation in the research work, is taking the academic gown and going to town, taking the journal and going to sites, making the policymakers to make everything, to ensure that everything works. And for the investors, the entrepreneurs, for them to be there. So that means there's a bridge, because at each point is onshore, and there's the water to swim through. So me speaking to you, my humble self, as I've been introduced, I am the bridge. Moscow is the bridge. So the essence of the promotion of the discussion today is that this slogan, this manifesto, is to create a bridge between the gown, the academics, the policymakers, which are in town, and actually the implementers, which are the investors or the entrepreneurs. And we took an initiative. Sorry, moderator, I can't view.
Sir?
Can you? Good. Yeah,
Hello,
okay,
sir.
I can see it now. Sorry.
Sir?
Yeah, I'm with the screen now. I'm okay now. I'm okay.
Okay, sir.
Yeah.
Okay, sir.
So I hope everybody can see the screen. You can unmute if your environment is safe for background, from background noise. So, because I want it to be participatory, it's a manifesto, it's a propaganda that we are doing now. We're not really doing the regular researchers' presentation. We're saying we should be ready. So the missing link between the journal and the job site, you need a bridge, and we are the bridge. Please, next slide, please. Next slide. Great. To my right, you see a beautiful building. That's, I call them FPH, because we don't really, the notice for this presentation was short. So we don't have the approval. That's why I will shorten it to FPH. Actually, it's Federal Palace Hotel. In Federal Palace Hotel, what have they done is that Federal Palace Hotel, like we all know, especially those of us residing in Lagos, is in Victoria Island, is a commercial hub, is validated through as an anchor site. It is an anchor site. It is the case study we're going to use here to say this thing is working at the pilot stage, and that I want us to resolve later. What stage do we think it is? Then is an hospitality corridor. We have a lot of hotels, tourist centers there. So that means there are activity around there. Within 30 to 45 minutes, whatever car you are taking, you can charge your car. They have a dual-gun DC fast charger. So please, can we go to the next slide? Where can we actually have these charging systems? I'm sure that will be more in some people's mind. I know there are different levels of questions that will come. Yeah, we generally, who can afford it? Who has an electric car? Where is it passing through? So we have about 3 categories. We have the private, you can also plug it in your house. We have the people, commercial centers, like a commercial pub, like the Federal Palace Hotel issue. We have the NNPC in Abuja. There you have people who have relatively electric vehicles. So that means there's demand for it, and also there's somebody that is doing it. So the leverage on high density corridors, to dominate hospitality. Generally in hospital, people live there and they stay there. Are we going to stay only in the hospitals? Definitely no. We are considering a number of things because we have a high aspiration. And the aspiration is to actually do a 250 stations. And what are we talking about? We're talking about the highways. On the highways, I've checked the law. The present government is trying that way. This year it's been passed, whereby stations can have charging points on the highway. So we're taking it to estate developers, whereby estate developers can have it in their estates. And if there's an high-up estate, definitely they will have electric vehicles. And why Africa? The reason why we're using Africa is that number one is the population, and it has been projected that that's going to be the most populated, the most populated in terms of percentage population rates. It will continuously be in the next 50 years. And I don't know how we're going to stop that. But I can tell you for real that population is an advantage. But however, I know I'm not doing that enough. Other people in this gathering, the Akada people, nobody's really doing that. But it is an advantage, especially for a place whereby you have room for development, where you have a lot of things to do just because you're not doing it. Another reason why Africa is that the electricity here is epileptic. It's not enough. The energy is not enough. Do we now pollute like the Northern Hemisphere, the developed country, the OECD? Not exactly. And that's why they've been since mid-80s till now, 87, 90, Brundtland, the Rio de Janeiro, whatever. They've been different issues. They've been different conferences calling that we should decarbonize. So what this project is going to do for the researchers and for the policymakers is that we're going to really contribute to decarbonization. That means the level of carbon is going to really reduce by this initiative. So can we go to the next level? Infrastructure excellence, yes. Yeah, like I said, is high speed reliability, 60 kilowatt-hour charge, deliver between 30 and 45 minutes, full charge cycles, ensuring minimum downtime for corporates and private fleets. We have moved beyond charging stations. We are to provide unified, robust energy network designed for maximum operational turnover. What that means is that by time what we are considering, that's the infrastructure excellence, we're going to have high speed. We're actually going to form different value chain. That means a lot of people, the university can have more data. We're going to talk about the metering. We're going to talk about EMS, the metering and actually data collection, which if done structurally that we're trying to do, is going to be going back even to the research institute. So it is an opportunity also for researchers to really roll up their sleeves and to knot their ties, because there's for every good work, there's more work to do. So what we're saying is that this system is going to bring more opportunities for Nigeria. Next slide, please. Yeah, commercial viability, my people, the entrepreneurs, the investors, and everybody that earns money, anybody that earns money is actually an entrepreneur, is to make money. Either as an investor, an entrepreneur. Being a lecturer does not mean you can't invest. Being a civil servant does not mean you can't invest. So we have the corporate ready, we have the hospitality demand, we have the private fleet transition. These are metrics that we're able to get from the Ikoyi, the Victoria Island site. Next slide, please. The roadmap to 250 stations. I hope we are getting our questions ready, because I think we'll rather take more questions than spend more time trying to talk what is not necessary. It is a manifesto, so we have to spend the shortest time. So the pilots, FPH, like I told you, Federal Palace Hotel, anchor site validation, that has validated that. We have the scale. That's under pilots. Yes, that has done that. Can we total? Is it done fully according to World Bank records? When they were trying to check why systems fail in Nigeria, is that they found out that while even in Kenya and East Africa, they spend almost 8 years planning. In Nigeria, we plan within 2 years and we just jump to the field. So I think our piloting has to be done rightly. Yes, there is in Abuja, there is in places, they've started in their own little way, that's fine. But for us to have a structure, we have to spend more time on planning. So that's where I said, well, we refer to FPH as being a proof that it can work. So it's pilots. So that means, yes, some people came to our innovation week. I don't know, I invited them here. I hope they're here. If they're here, maybe they can talk to SGX. And I also invited Saglef. If he's here, please, my brother, you're welcome here. Okay? So we are having pilot schemes. We now move also to the scale. So people are scaling already. The SGX told me that they now have about 3 points where they service their tricycle and bicycles. Their model is a bit different. It's okay, that's fine. Everybody has different models. Everybody's contributing, but we need to find a way to have a framework by which we work so that it will be sustainable. Then we have the scale. We have the VI hospitality corridor. Okay. We have the network, Lagos-wide unified corporate hubs. Then you also have the vision, Pan-African e-mobility grid. That is where we are going. For us to have it, like my participation in the last year's conference, is that, see, we do a whole lot of things, and with all apologies, but do we do it according to structure? Do we have structure by which we do it? So this group of researchers, this group of government and this group of investors, one of the things we have to work on is to make sure that we structure this thing rightly. And that is where Moscow is actually bridging, and that is what we are trying to pursue. So I repeat, the roadmap to having 250 stations. 250 stations is not a whole lot. The number of filling stations in Lagos, I didn't check. I'm sure it's a lot. But what we want to do is I want to take it to estates. We want to take it through the highways, filling stations. But we also want to have a pattern to do this. Next slide, please. The operational assets. It's like Moscow is saying the solar has become an asset. How? Yeah, solar integration. We tap into the solar as much as possible. What you have in FPH is fine. And I'll tell you the good thing. It's all good. The investors are making money. They are servicing a lot of people. But they still use generator. What are we talking about? Yeah, it's a lot of energy, but we can use renewable energy to really solve it. So solar integration and the smart connectivity, real-time node. The connectivity we are bringing in is integration of solar, BES, as battery in a simple term. We're doing the EMS, and we're connecting to the user. So, and all this can be modularized, meaning you can take all those containers that are flying around, we can take it and build it in 3 orders. Down will be the charging point, middle will be the cabinets for the batteries. On top, you have the PVs. Then data intelligence. Here we can now monitor, meter it, and actually get back information, direct information to the universities or to the academy. And meanwhile, the metering will be shown. And so next slide, please. Operational also. Please be typing your questions. Policy and incentives. We have a mandate. What's the mandate? EV ready development. Everybody wants to do EV. It's correct. Climate resilience. That's a mandate. The structural standards. That's a mandate. So the mandate is everyone wants to do EV, electric vehicle, electric mobility. Want our climate to still be intact, as if when the 1940s of Nigeria. We also want standards to be in place. The 15%, so we have checked, we have 15% permit discount. We have 10% land use relief. Lands in the island is so expensive. Imagine if you can get 10%. So we have the mandatory hub integration. The hubs have to be integrated, they have to be connected. The strategic outcome incentivized infrastructure growth. This infrastructure are being incentivized. Optimized urban site allocation under strategic outcome. Future-proof city planning. So part of it is that there are laws to pass, and we need policymakers here. And part of it is that if you are doing a new estate and you have provisions for EV charging points, hubs, yeah, you get a relief. And that means even if you are not building totality, all the conduits in will have been done and just be like plug and play. Heavy cabling, it's heavy investment and heavy facilities. So to optimize urban sites allocation, yeah, also future city planning. Next slide, please. Okay, please go back to the second to the last. So you have a QR code whereby you can have all these and really talk to us. Unfortunately, this slide is not containing any of our information, but I'm sure if you get to the conference people, we have. So thank you very much for this very short time we have spent, but we actually appreciate your time too, being here. So we really appreciate you for listening to us. Thank you. Thank you. So we can, thank you, Mr. Moderator.
Yeah, thank you very much, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you for giving us this good lecture. So people, please, now is time for questions. You know, as the moderator said, he wants this to be an interactive session. So please, we'd like you people to start sending your questions now so that we can, you know, allow our speaker to answer them diligently. So please, you can send your question in the chat box. We would likely want to, you know, we would like.
Okay.
No, if it's not, okay.
Okay, why
if it's not there
for...
yet, if it's not there yet, people can be asking the questions.
Yes,
Okay.
while waiting for the questions to start coming in, I want to appreciate Engineer Kolawole for the work that you and Moscol has been doing, you know, in this very regard, and the very enlightening presentation you have given. Of course, it's centered on the designing the architecture. You know, you have presented, you know, the case study of Federal Palace Hotel and the different propositions about how to get maybe estate, commercial centers interested. The question that I want to ask, maybe you throw more light into that. I know a lot of things, particularly based on your presentation at the SMART conference last year. You know, that's where I got exactly what you and your company are doing, and particularly invite you for this presentation. Now, with regard to who handles what, because from the perspective of a private company like Moscol, there will be a lot, you know, to shoulder, you know, to be able to understand who handles what. For example, now, the existing structure we want to stamp this EV infrastructure on is such that you have a regulatory like NEC that handles electricity supply, and now for electricity supply now goes through the distribution companies, you know, and then you relate to the end users. Now, if we want to mimic this framework for the integration of EV infrastructure, what are you recommending is going to be the framework for this? Because if we agree that the end user, say for example residential or commercial, that okay, I would allow EV infrastructure, to be built, by my house or my shopping center or for my hotel, like Federal Palace Hotel has done that. He handles the finance and the project is turnkey, everything is good to go. But when you talk about city-wide infrastructure, then the government has to come in. So, and we cannot really operate the EV vehicle like a city in Lagos, even if we say EV has to just, for Nigeria, let's start with the city, still, if you take it from your house around the city, you have to depend on strategic places that the EV charging stations are positioned, because the EV works by even recognizing those positions. That's how it programs itself to know that, okay, this is going to be the next place where I can charge. This is going to be another place where I can charge. Otherwise, somebody can take EV from his house or from his place and goes to the city, and before he gets back, everything is rain and does not know where next to charge and all that. So these architectures cannot be planned by just service provider with the end user alone. The city planning has to be involved. And then when that has to be involved, will there be some extra electricity that need to go into the grid? If that has to be, then utilities also has to be involved. So there needs to be a framework that we want to propose. So I don't know if you can speak more on this so that we know who is coming with a hand. We can actually, maybe this upcoming conference, we can have more robust white paper that we want to recommend to the government for this kind of implementation. So
Okay.
maybe you can speak more on that while we wait for other participants to bring their questions.
Thank you very, very much. Please, others should introduce themselves, because I'm sorry, I may not know most people. I know I talked to one or two people, but I don't. So what's your name, sir?
Yeah, this is Dr. Hiobi Ogedengbe.
Oh, August. Well done, sir. Thank you. Thank you for that. Okay, let me give you, because I didn't spend so much time presenting, let me give you the synopsis of this presentation. Coincidentally, I have to mention, you called me, you sent me a message, it seems it was about 4 o'clock in the morning. And I just said yes. I'm sure within a few minutes, I just said yes, I will do it. So, is it I don't have enough time? I have too many information to play with. Even to the last minute, I think, what's his name? The coordinator were chatting this and this. The thing is that we have a framework. We have positions to take some of this information to the House of Assembly. However, I can tell you, thank God that I agreed. I checked the legal framework, the laws of Nigeria. Some laws were passed in favor of this year. I think maybe if it's possible, people should just, if we're in a physical forum, I'll just say we should give kudos to where kudos is. The policymakers have been working around it. But to answer you, so there's a lot of information that I've been working with. I had 3 slides. Which should I put forward? Which should I not put forward? What do I do this? So there are a lot of information, and the government has tried, but we still need to, because we must have a standard. What standard are we talking about? The standard, so that when you are doing it in Maiduguri, and you are doing it in Gusau, and you are doing it in Aba, and that is the only way we won't burn up the country. So the thing is that there's a law, and that law is under electricity, one of the electricity boards. There are many boards Guarantee. And Lagos State is doing a whole lot. And after this meeting, you can check the legal framework. Already, it's been done. But one thing that we have to do is that the protocol has to be uniform. Once the protocol is uniform, if you remember last year, sir, I was talking about in Rwanda, if they have initiative like this, they can almost start immediately because this is their policy. They will not just enact a law. The policy must be followed. So people have tested it and they've been working like that. So it will just be easy. But it will be bad that we have this bright initiative in Nigeria and go to Rwanda and give it to them. If they buy into it, their government is not as difficult as even seeing the local government chairman of my area. If you get to Rwanda, you can almost see the president, except he's sick. If you go to Ghana, the same thing. It's almost impossible to see government people. You want to see them just, if you know they are going to Paris, just fly to Paris. You easily see them because they will still wear jackets. So the framework is there, but there are some things we are proposing, which I can share with you. Or in fact, I'm still thinking in my head, if it's going to be allowed in the 2026, maybe maybe that way I could give a kind of voluminous literature or a document that can go. But like I said, this is a manifesto that we can do it. So government is trying, laws are there protecting. That's why we are getting 15%, 10%. We are not thinking from the head. We extracted it from what the government has done. We are want to talk to estate developers. Like primarily, I'm a civil engineer, but maybe I'm turning to infrastructure architect. So, and as an architect, you must know the A to Z, all encompassing structural, whatever. And luckily, you have a civil engineer who can work. So if I'm busy between now and Tuesday, a whole lot writing, traveling. I'm presently not in Lagos, so I'm going to add that. I'm going to try. You know how it gets me. I'm going to try and push that to you. But if you don't see me by Tuesday, know that maybe I've forgotten. Then we can push it. The essence of it all is that there must be a standard protocol. You don't have it already, no problem. Do all your wiring based on that protocol. If you do it, you get a 10% discount from government. All these accessories, if you bring it in, if you want to go into that business, you are not paying VAT. You are paying, there's a rebate on your clearing. And these are business opportunities that are there. So that's, I don't know if that has answered you. But I want to use this question session to bring out a number of things that I just filled my head, that I've tried to pen down. In fact, it's just, I'm sure I'm going to need a Jacobian theory to resolve some of these things. All right, sir. Okay. Please,
Yeah,
the moderator.
thank you very much. I think moderator, over to you.
Hello, sir. Okay, sir. Yeah, someone asked that we can build 250 excellent charging stations, but if people can't easily buy or maintain electric vehicles here, the station will sit empty. Are you partnering with car dealership or local manufacturers to ensure affordable EVs are actually available for Lagosians to buy?
I'm not partnering. Let me be arrogant, but that's not my nature. I'm not partnering with anybody. I'm looking for people to come and fetch from the well of wealth or well of wisdom. And with all humility, what does that mean? Okay, I've eroded my arrogance. What that means is this. The EVs are many. Yesterday, on Wednesday, day before yesterday, I was at Keja, where we are having an innovation week. And somebody brought a Marwa there and said, his model is different. And I was, wow, how come you knew I was going to? And their model is different from ours. They are into tricycle, they're into bicycle. You know what they do? they sell batteries specifically for their products. So there's the system of gas. If you want to fill your gas, you take your empty bottle there. So with the card, they give you, there's a battery there. So if you need an extra, you buy. So all you have to do is that anytime you exhaust a battery, you drop that battery there and you continue to commute around. And you come there and pay. Their name is SGX. I have a friend. I don't know why he's not here. Saglev. Funniest thing, he studied medicine. He became a consultant in America. And now he's assembling. We're not talking, but it's just we've not seen since 1989. I'm not sure I even remember him. But we are on a platform, school platform. So everybody's is a big, that's why we need, like what Dr. Gedengbe said, that's why we need to have a framework. Everybody can perform. Why do I need to? For example, the SGS now, they didn't give us the opportunity to be able to fill their tank. What they have done is that they've done their battery in package. So they just bring their battery, like the battery of your phone. So you just have, like we used to do in Nokia. I've not done that with this once now. So you just put an extra battery and you commute. And that vehicle can go 60 kilometers. And Dr. Sam was telling us, that's the CEO of Saglev, was telling us that they have vehicles that can go more than 300 kilometers. I think he mentioned 700, but I don't want to quote him wrongly. So there will be feasibility. There is no doubt. There's no energy. And in the course of this research, we talk about branding, especially Lagosians. Me, I'm a bushman. We talk about branding. I realize that branding is equals to reliability. Once you are reliable, you have a brand. FPH that I said is an hotel. It's owned by Ibu. They could inject a lot of money. You know what they are doing? They are still using generators. We want to take off generators. It can be maybe some other people say, oh, how many PV will you put? I found that if you have an acre of land, and that's like the size of my house, a plot of land is about 648 square meters. You can power a lot. Do you also know that all your carports, all your roof can become, in fact, we are talking just that we want to go to reality. We are talking about covering the houses now with solar panels. It's more expensive than a regular roof. It's not going to be, it may not be as aesthetical as the present roof that you have, but functionally it's going to work. So there is no point, what we here need to do, since we are in 3 pillars or in 3 modules, the researchers, the policymakers, and entrepreneurs. It's like being a researcher does not mean you are not an investor. You can invest. And being an investor does not mean that you won't be updated with the information you have. SGS said the MD cannot attend. As if your MD does not attend, don't attend. Because we need people who can put money where their heart is, to know that this is what we are doing. Their standard, their method is good, but it's the regular selfish Nigerian mind. Let us think globally. So the 250, it's very easy. Let me make it to you. Federal Palace is in VI. Galaxy is in VI. Other places are in VI that still need these things. There are churches where people park. Most of them are not busy in the day. So why don't they have it? Why don't we have it? All those post offices that are moribund, that I see junky kind of businesses there. Why don't we own it? near Ikeja branch, there is a building by Loma. I was talking to my guys. I said, why don't we buy it? Why don't we approach government and buy this thing? Say, hey, we don't have money. Money, there's value. You are saying there's no money. Once there's a value, there's money. Let's take this money. Do you know what? Do you know the good news? Somebody has converted to CNG and pretending, and that's unfortunate thing about our greedy politicians. They'll be pretending as if it's government that owns it. It's now a CNG center, and it's just next, just a church in between building, the NSC Kega building, and the place. And I was looking at it. The roof was just ripping off. I was looking at it. So now it's a CNG center. Fine, good luck to the people. So 250 is nothing. Abuja, they have centers already. So please, let's take next question. Sorry, moderator, have I been able to answer the question?
Yeah. Yes, sir. I believe so. So, sir, the next question says that if we are to contact estates and car dealers who construct the grid, especially for the estates, if we are to contact estates and car dealers who constructs the grid, especially for the estates.
Okay. I'll drop my garment of arrogance. Grid may necessarily mean, let's use the old term, NEPA. And it involves, to make it simpler, it involves the cables, the lines, the transmission, the distribution, which involves the transformer. We are not touching it. No, sorry, we are touching it. You know what we are doing? Like I said, the configuration is this. We have the integrated solar battery system, which you call BESS, BESS, if you like. Does not have T, BESS. We have the EMS, the energy monitoring system. From the EMS is where the researchers can get their feedback on information. So, but what we're going to do, what we can do, let me explain it this way, because I understood it very well, is that in places like VIA, they charge you based on demand. Not just that, there's also what they call is a demand base. There's a way to explain. There's a peak period. That peak period, in order to discourage you, let's assume it's 3 o'clock. They'll charge higher. If they are charging 300 naira per kilowatt hour, that peak period they'll charge around 500. They're aware. The people that are involved are aware. So what we'll do if FPH approaches us, what we'll do is that it's called we shave off that time. So we'll know that time. At that time, we cut it off. At that time, we will have supplied enough and will supply. So if you cut that off, that means that increment, for the sake of this discussion, because I'm not sure of this value, let's say it's even 5%, that we maintain the regular rates time, because they are in band A premium, not just band A. That's what they have in the VI. So in that band A, they also go up when there's peak demand, so that the grid will not collapse. So the grid is actually for government. So what this thing will do is that we now have excess energy, and there's a law already by the present government. You know, I'm not a card carrying member, you know, that everybody can generate electricity. So if you can put it into the grid and you'll be paid for it. So please refresh my memory of what's the question.
Let's say if we are to contact estates and car dealers who constructs the grid, especially for the estates.
Okay. What happened is that it's not anything big deal. I don't want to mention, well, I've said my wife. In October, we didn't have lights in the house. She has an order to do a whole lot of things, blah, 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 blah. She sews customized uniforms. If you want to do you're not doing physical, you're online people, you want to do your maybe just see or something, she can do it. She was delivered before in a month, and it's something that she can do in 2 weeks. Because she was on generator, she couldn't deliver. And she was spending the money. She couldn't deliver. And also, so say, please, can you help me to go to Alaba? To do what? We want solar. We make mouth. She makes mouth now. I said, I have lights. And it's a lot of money, but you are going to make your. Are we okay?
Yeah, yes, sir. Thank you, sir. I think the meeting has to come to a close now because we are getting towards 3 o'clock. The meeting is supposed to end by 3 o'clock. So, sir, I would just want to say a very much big thank you for your time, for this valuable lecture. We are grateful for all the questions you're going to answer. We are really appreciative. Thank you very much, sir, for the time, for your efforts, and yeah. Okay, sir. I don't know if Dr. Gregbe wants to have anything to say. Dr. Gregbe?
Yes, we should talk.
Okay, yeah, thank you very much, the moderator, and I appreciate what you guys are doing, planning this weekly live webinar. And I want to appreciate those that have turned up today. I've been seeing some regular people that have been more like making the live webinar part of their weekly schedule. So I appreciate the time that you have devoted to such a very thought-provoking infrastructural change for our system, particularly in Nigeria and Africa like this, that SMART is focused on. I now want to particularly appreciate Engineer Kolawole, not just only himself as a partner of Moscow, but the entire Moscow team as a company, because they are part of a very great drive, to something very new. People always like to get into something that is already established, and the money is clearly flowing. But coming into a terrain that the structure is not yet there, the infrastructure, the setup, the regulatory protocols, it's not there. It's kind of very risky. But I can see from what Engineer Kolawole is doing, he's talking as if what the terrain is discussing is like rice and plantain. It's such very easy for everybody to see this clearly, whereas a lot of people are like, I still can't get what you're talking about, So of course, I want to say that all these expositions since we started the live webinar has been something that is giving a very clear indication that the SMART conference itself in October is going to be far bigger and richer than what happened when we launched the SMART last year, because there are a lot of things that every speaker that we bring in since we started have been bringing to the table, which means that immediately after this very weekend, which hence the call for paper, the planning for that conference, and what can be bring to the table. So I'm using this to invite Engineer Kolawole to join us as we plan for the conference, so that we'll be able to actually ensure that all the programs that are required to really make the conference more participatory, more engaging, particularly the stakeholders in the industries, the policymakers, and that they are basically fully represented, so that we'll have a wonderful progress. So thank you very much. Now, like we did last week, we've been privileged to started to always kind of have an idea of what is coming next week. And this very week is not an exception. Next week, we already have a speaker that I've accepted to come and speak. And that particularly, I believe it's going to really interest that we are trying to bring in people in the developed economy to be interested in smart because of this initiative to make this year's smart more engaging. I particularly took up a research leave from University of Lagos. We started at the beginning of this week. As I speak to you, I'm speaking to you from Ottawa, Canada. And I have been able to get a professor from Carleton University here in Canada to be willing to join us to speak next week. So he's going to basically not particularly targeting a research area, but just speaking on the concept of internationalization of research initiatives towards sustainable local content development. And if you know what SMART is all about, it's all about we knowing that we need to solve our problem ourselves. We need to move away from the mindset of calling development partners to come to Nigeria to come and solve our problem. We'll be deceiving ourselves. Most of us know that is not going to work. They rather stay, they do their development over there and then bring the product to us. But when we are talking about this initiative and developing our cities, we need to have a stakeholder within ourselves, to be engaged in the development. So if we can bring people from outside to come and join us in the ongoing project in Nigeria, then that's my own concept of internationalization, as against the concept of move to the developed nation to go and develop something there and then bring it down, which has been what we have been used to, try to always import basically almost everything. And even when we import it, even to maintain that, it's even very difficult for us. So next week, I just want you to be prepared that that's the first person from outside the country that will be speaking. And I want to say that, in fact, through his incitement, he even initiated some other person from the US that is already lined up, as part of the possible webinar speaker on this series that we have started. So I want to just say that I look forward to what we can do to make sure that weekly webinar is more participatory. I know it's a weekly period, it's Friday, and then people are still working. So maybe that's one of the challenge, but we'll do our best to ensure that more people get to know about this, and they can actually come to participate. So thank you very much, everyone. Thank you once again, Kolawole, and in regards to your CEO, who has actually allowed you to come and tell us what you guys are doing at Moscow. And bye-bye, everyone.
Thank you. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.